Hi, it's Michael Hamilton from Thinqe with Stephen Wallace from Meetup Madness. How are you going today?
Good day, sir. Very well, thank you.
Oh, very good. Well, recently we discussed the why, the strategy behind a Devops and automation software strategy, for example. Now, let's move into the execution phase when you actually implement and start off execute the strategy. Where do you start? Where do you personally start?
Okay, so I think it's very, very easy to get on with Mr. Google and start to do a few searches to pick up some random automation patterns, that have come off the web. And excuse me. And depending on how enthusiastic that particular techie is, they're just going to go ahead and they're going to get started with something like, I don't know, Ansible, or there's going to be some AWS or some Azure magic in there somewhere. But I think if I was able to give some advice on that, is just to maybe just take a little bit of a step back and understand what the individual layers are when it comes to doing cloud deployments. For instance, as you'll be aware, there's an element of provisioning, and then there's an element of configuration, perhaps. Then, before you get onto these deployment and release, and those things, I guarantee, will mean something maybe a bit different for you as it will from who's listening in here.
Very great.
So getting a common glossary, understanding, in old school it was ITIL. Well, not old school, it's still relevant in many ways, but having a common glossary for the individual layers. So once you've got that, then you can start having a little think about a myriad of different tools that could be involved with that. Maybe pop on down to some of the meetup groups to try and get some, some reassurance in that field. But also to understand your boundaries of what provisioning is. Provisioning, leaving the serverless stuff aside for 1 second. The provisioning bit is perhaps spinning up servers, EC2 instances, or Google Compute nodes, or whatever. It's spinning up the instances, it's setting up basic networking, and not very much else apart from installing the configuration management tool.
Okay, so layer in that complexity.
Stop at that point. Only after you've maybe defined some tests, because people put together some code, whether it be Terraform or CloudFormation or something like that, but they never think about writing some tests to actually validate whether Microsoft or Amazon or Google have actually provisioned it according to how you've programmatically defined it.
It's interesting, isn't it? And that's layer in the complexity. Layer. That's it. And what we're saying today is, from a technical standpoint, that you just build a simple foundation. It doesn't produce the business outcome necessarily at that stage, but it's a starting point of the journey. I just want to make sure you understand that as a consumer of this information. Layer in the complexity. That's what we're saying. Start small and then build up. And that's excellent. I like that advice. It's what we've been.
You have a much better chance of being able to bring the team along as well, because it's going to be a transition for them. It's
education. You've got to educate people along the way. So you become, instead of vertical, more horizontal with their skill sets and the SDLC or software delivery cycle. That was excellent insights today, Stephen. If you've got any questions, please send them through to this guy. He loves them. I'll be happy to answer them for you. Thank you.
Nice.